Hello, and welcome to the newest episode of the Drive Home Podcast. I'm your host, and I am tired today. I worked an 8-hour shift and quite exhausted just from all of it. And especially, I don't know if we got a closer tonight, and I was only there till 6, which closers are till 8 usually. But because of weird schedule happenings, I spent an extra 4 hours there. I started at 10, I got out at 6. And so I'm really confused about that. And I don't know if I have any answers. But anyway, this ain't gonna work. Okay. Let's just back it up. Back it up. Alright. New feature on the phone, so I will be right back after these non-existing messages. Okay, I'm back. We're gonna see if this works. So, long story short, it is cold tonight and raining. And it's in December. And I don't live in the Florida area. So, if you haven't put it together, there is ice everywhere. And since I've been here my car's been parked outside the whole time, it means that everything on my car is actually covered in ice. Which is a lot harder to get rid of than snow, so believe it or not. Because it covers the windshield and the mirrors and everything, and so you really gotta just get out and scrape it all off, or sit in your car for like 2 hours. Hopefully it'll defrost or something, I don't know. But I haven't got time for the defrost, not that it actually takes that long. But anyway, as I was going to say before, let's drive this podcast home. So, okay, and yep, that's bad. Yep, that is. Okay. Oh no, this is not good. So it appears I have put myself into a snowbank. Because black ice is everywhere. And I am stupid, I forgot to put my car in a better wheel drive before. At least nobody comes on this road, which is simultaneously good and bad. So I didn't put anyone in danger, except my car ain't going nowhere. So that's bad. Okay, put my car in park, and let's just turn it off for now. Yep, this episode's ending now. Well, this will be a funny moment, hopefully, in the future. Anyway, I gotta figure out how to get my car unstuck from a snowbank. Have a good one, everyone. I certainly won't. Bye. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the comeback of this episode of the Drive Home Podcast. Today, we're learning all sorts of horrible things about driving with snow. Like, you have to drive extremely slow, and also how to back out of a snowbank. So, if your car is capable, the way to get out of a snowbank, hopefully, if you can, is... I don't remember the steps. So, step 1, car should be on, of course. And then take it from park and put it in neutral, and then shift it down to the other neutral. Okay, wait. So you take it from park to neutral in the, so I have a manual, like, I have, like, sticks in the middle of, like, the car that I use, and there are two of them. One is for shifting gears, one is for park, drive, reverse, whatever. So I don't know how this works on all vehicles, but I'll explain how it works on mine. So there are two neutrals, which is very confusing. So I will be referring to them as neutral 1 and neutral 2. So neutral 1 is the one that is next to your park, your reverse, your drive, whatever. Neutral 2 is part of your gears. So what you want to do is you want to switch your car into neutral 1. And, keep your foot on the brake for all intents and purposes, because you don't want to just slide, probably. And then you want to shift into your vehicle into neutral 2. Now, this is a difficult maneuver because I'm not sure. It just is. At least with my car, I have to, like, press down on the second, like, on the gear shifter button or lever, to press down on it and then pull it backwards or towards me. Yeah, right. And then after I do that, I can then shift it into neutral, or no, I can then shift it down. I can then shift from neutral 2 into 4 low. Now, low gear is not something you're supposed to drive with because it will ruin your transmission very quickly. But in a tight pinch, you use it to get out of danger. Like this. Because so much black ice, so much. And not stress how much there was too much. I slid into a bank when taking a not very hard turn, honestly. Wasn't going that fast, but just, like, it just didn't, like, I started sliding instead of turning. So, and then, it's gonna guzzle my gas. Jeez. But, yeah, so I'm in 4 full-time right now. So, you want to do is, like I said before, sort of, in the first part, kind of start in 4-wheel drive automatically, so this doesn't necessarily happen. Now, keep in mind, black ice is invisible, and it is 6:30, just about, in December, which, in my area, means it's been nighttime for an hour or two, basically. The sky is somewhat bright for some reason, but there's no, like, real light besides electronic lights. So, take it to heart when I say you will not see the black ice. Because you won't. Like, the ground didn't even look wet or, like, it didn't reflect. It was super weird. Normally, I don't care about black ice. Like, I don't have to deal with it. But there was so much. And it was everywhere. And we did not get people that come through and put down dirt or salt or whatever they do to get rid of the black ice. I actually messaged my friend about it. But no, I called my mother and I got some tips from her. I thought she was going to have to come pull me out. So I called her, but apparently I just had to shift my gears a bunch, which wasn't her idea, it was her boyfriend's, so go him. Points for him. He did a good job, because he was there. Anyway, so, long story short, The steps are take it from parking to neutral. Now, keep the brake on until I say not to, because that is how you stop from moving. So, parking to neutral 1. Then, two-wheel drive or whatever to neutral, which usually means you have to go to 4 full-time, I think. It depends, but you need to go to neutral gear. So, I'm just going to call it neutral and neutral gear. So, you need to set your car to neutral, then go to neutral gear. And then, from neutral gear, you go to 4 low. Now, in 4 low, if you've gone forward into a snowbank, you will then take it out of neutral and put it into reverse. And very slowly, little bit of gas if you need to. I actually didn't. I don't know if it's because I left my car on a little bit and it kind of like melted the snow or what. Because it was basically 3 wheels in the snow. But, yeah, so you inch out, and once you get back on the road, now I was lucky. I was on like a back road people don't necessarily take. This is also unlucky because that's probably why it didn't have any, traction on it, because no one decided to go through there. Anyway, the main point is that once you get it, you kind of have to do the steps in reverse. So you take your car from reverse, you put it into neutral, then you take your car from 4 low, put it back into neutral gear, and then put it into 4 full time. And from that point, you can take your car and put it into drive or reverse more if you want to, and then you can go. But don't stay in 4 low for too long. SnowRunner did not tell me correctly. They were just like, hey, you use this when you're in trouble and there's no traction. Well, wrong. You can't just use it all the time. I think when you activate it just drains more gas, and makes you go really slow. But that's not really the point. The point is that, like, if you use it too much, it ruins your gearbox. Or, no, your transmission. I don't know. Right here, that. So yeah, I don't know. So that was a wild ride. Now I have to edit this together, which is fun. My friend made sugar cookies last night, and we work at the same place, so she brought some, and now me and my brother get to have some. My brother's at work right now, but once he gets home, he'll get one, and I'll already have had one, but I'm waiting to get to home so I can have like milk and stuff with it. I could get milk at work because I work in a grocery store, but there's nothing like eating a sugar cookie with nothing on it at home with a glass of milk. Only one. It's kind of a big cookie. I like it, I think. I don't know, I haven't eaten it yet, but it's probably good. It's not burned, which is good. Can you even burn sugar cookies? Actually, so my friend said that the reason that they made sugar cookies specifically was because it was something that their grandma, I think, did with them. And that honestly reminded me. I was meaning to talk about this a little bit, and I don't know if I brought it up before. I feel like I have, or at least I've thought of it. I don't know if I've said it, or at least not on this podcast, but I tend to make spaghetti for dinner more recently than not, I guess, for the last couple of years. I guess last year or so, specifically. But, for one reason or another, I guess, I think the reason I started making spaghetti again was because of the passing of my grandmother. Well, my first grandmother, I guess, to pass. Still have one. But I think it's because back in the day, I would get, during school on Wednesdays, I think, yeah, on Wednesdays, for the most part, I would go up to her. I would end up, because my mother worked until 5 and my dad worked until super late, and he worked pretty far away, I would end up needing, essentially, well, not needing, but getting, like, daycare for a long time. I think up until middle school or something. Originally, until up until the end of second grade, I had my grandmother my second grandmother, I guess, would take care of me, because she lived on a house on the school bus route, so we would get dropped off there. And then well, long story short, so my first grandmother, she was older than my currently living grandmother, so kind of makes sense. But she would make me and my brother sort of what we wanted for dinner when we were there, and she'd make extra proportions, I think, or she would make a lot, which was really nice. Which, in retrospect, I'm not exactly a stick, you know. I'm wide, but also I think I'm sort of built that way. But also, yeah, I'm definitely not skinny. I mean, I've got broad shoulders, but my stomach is somewhat broad, you could say. But the important part of that is my grandmother would make me spaghetti most of those times, I think, because I really like spaghetti. And my brother would usually get some kind of steak and like mashed potatoes, or mostly just mashed potatoes. And sometimes we would get like forced to eat healthy things, or healthier things. And sometimes she wouldn't want to make both, which is fair. But I was a little kid at the time, and I didn't understand that. The little jerk I was. Well, I don't know. I don't want to say that. I could have, but I think I understood. I just didn't necessarily care, which sucks. Even worse, I think. Either way, I was a little snot, or whatever, a little rat. So, because me and my brother didn't really like the same things much. The one thing we could agree on was hot dogs, pretty much. And even then, I liked the more human skin colored hot dogs, and my brother liked the red hot dogs. I think I call them brown hot dogs, my hot dogs. My brother eats red hot dogs, and I eat brown hot dogs, but I don't know why. I had red hot dogs. Well, I swear red hot dogs are just like, you can like taste the plastic in them. I swear I can feel myself chewing on the plastic. I don't know. Anyway, so my grandmother would always make me a lot of spaghetti, and we hadn't gone up to see her since really. Well, I mean, we'd visited her on occasion, but after I graduated high school, I had to work, so there was less of that happening. So sometimes I'd see her maybe once every 2 weeks, if even, and now that I have my own car and stuff, it's up to me to decide if I spend. So my mother lives far away from the rest of my family, but I live with my mother. The economy is nasty. I don't want to. I couldn't afford. I'd have to get a new job. I mean, and even then, you know, it'd be like bare bones, scraping by. Just like, my mother understands that. She's knowledgeable with money. So, I ended up, me and my brother still live with my mother. She's planning on moving in with her boyfriend sometime next year, apparently. So, that's probably what's gonna happen. And I guess me and my brother will rent out her, like we'll pay her like actual rent. We sort of pay rent, but it's really cheap right now. But I guess we'll end up paying her like real rent sometime next year if she does move out. But you know, she doesn't live close to many of our family members. Pretty much only one, and it's like her aunt and uncle, which is kind of weird. I think. I don't know. It's normal. It's whatever. But it means we basically have to spend like half an hour driving to get to like the rest of my family, or the major part of the rest of my family. I guess, like the core part. Like my mom's brother and parents, and then my dad, my dad's used to be alive mother, and my aunt and my uncle on that side as well. So those are sort of the core members, and they all generally live down 30 minutes away. And so my mother had work a town over, and after she and my father got divorced, she figured living closer to work would make more sense, which of course it does. I understand, like they both like lived far away for work, so to speak. I mean, I know 30 minutes isn't like necessarily a lot. And I say 30, but it's rough. It's usually like 40 minutes. So it's not exactly a short drive. But sorry, I'm just getting a little not distracted, but focused on the road, which distracts me from the podcast. But it's fine. So my mother lives far away from the rest of my family, so I wouldn't really. And since my mother pretty much had custody, since my father had to be at work, like before me and my brother were even awake in the morning, he couldn't really like have custody of us. But you know, they were chill about the breakup, so I could see my dad like on weekends or whatever. And it's not like they hate each other or anything. I guess they just fell out of love. I honestly don't know. I don't intend on asking, because that's super weird. Regardless, my grandmother fed us dinner on Wednesdays, basically. So my aunt, who was a teacher, after she would get out of school, she would come to my mother's house during middle school, or I think in elementary school, she came to our daycare. Our second elementary school. She would come to our like daycare place, and she would take us from there. So my aunt would take, and sometimes my grandmother would, but my aunt also wanted to see us. My aunt's been a big part of my life. That's really interesting. I guess. That's cool. I have a cool family. I don't speak to my uncle on my dad's side much, though. I don't even know what he does. I think he works with, like, special ed kids, but I don't know. What the? No. Weird. Strange. Anyway, My grandmother would make me spaghetti, and I really liked it. And I hadn't thought about it much, but after she passed away, I think I started remembering that I remember really liking her spaghetti. So, and since I had to make my own dinners, and spaghetti was a relatively easy thing to make, I would make myself spaghetti. So, I actually think I'm not gonna have spaghetti tonight. I had it the last couple nights, and well, whatever. But I think I think that's a way I can honor my grandmother's memory, I guess. Because that's one of my core memories of her in a way. So that is what it is. Anyway, I've gotten home, so I gotta get inside and patch this video together because I did not pause. I straight up ended the first one, and then, well, started this one. So I'm gonna go do that and just chill out. So have a good one, everyone, and stay safe in these very trying times. Like, be careful when you drive, Bye. Oh, and real quick, if you liked the episode, leave a like. If you didn't, you don't have to. Yada, yada, yada. You know the spiel. Thank you all for listening, and have a great next 24 hours. For real this time. Goodbye.